Hello, lovelies. Assalamu alaikum. Nafata kwa na lafia. I hope you all are doing amazing. Guys, few years back, we used to live in a private apartment where the rent, water, electricity, and the heating system was paid separately. And few years later, we moved into a government apartment where the house rent and the heating system were paid together, like were together attached to the rent. The water, the electricity is also paid separately. Okay, and in this new apartment, somewhere October, November, December, before it gets to winter, usually they release the heating system. Okay, even if you put it on or you don't put it on, like they release it, it's always on. So you have to be in check with the regulation so that your house does not overheat. Your house doesn't overheat. Okay, so yeah, the reason why I'm saying this, I want you to get the difference. I want you to get I want you to get the difference between the two. Like when we were living in a private apartment and when we are now living in a government apartment. Like I said, everything is paid separately, but in the government apartment, the heating system is attached to it because when we moved in, it was a new building, it was a new apartment, so we were the first to occupy the building. So the reason why I'm saying this is with regards to the current situation, like the world difficulties we are all facing. Like, I want to plead with my fellow Ghanaians. I know it's really difficult, and I want you to understand that it's not just Ghana, okay? But Ghana kawai e karfi ba, ko ina ya karfi. The reason why I started in explaining the situation where we were living in our old apartment and our new apartment is that over the weekend, I washed my kids' school bag, okay? And so we don't have a drying machine, okay? Usually when I wash, after exhausting the dry lines, we take the rest of the things to the dry cleaners where we can dry them in the machine. But with the school bags, I felt okay, I could dry them at home. So I decided to open the heaters in the house and hang the bags around the heaters. And after opening the two of the heaters, I realized like the heater wasn't heating. I tried to touch it and I went to the regulator to make sure it is on to increase the temperature so that the heat around the central heating would dry the bags. After some few hours, I realized it wasn't heating. Then it dawned on me in like over the weekend again when I was busy in the kitchen. Hobby was watching one of his programs where I overheard one man in Germany explaining how the government have cut down their energy supplies and all. It was then I realized that I think the Belgian government is doing the same or has done the same. I can't really tell. But what I have seen is we are in November. Usually, October, November, they release energy. But up to now, when you open the heater, you could hear the sound of the gas releasing into the cylinder to start producing the heat. But when you open, it doesn't come much, meaning like I don't know, they have adjusted it. I don't know what they have done to it. Like, it's not heating like previously. Unlike unlike when you enter our apartment, it's usually warm, it's cozy, it's warm inside. But we are in November, but you could still feel cold. You understand? The heating system, I think they have cut down the supply because we are not paying it separately. That should tell you how much things are really difficult here. Before that, I once had an opportunity to speak to one woman. She was a retired head of one institution. So I was telling her like we are looking for an apartment. We want to move from where we are, and so she was advising me that we should be careful with the kind of apartment we go in for because now the energy system is expensive or the heating system is expensive. So we should look out for the kind of house or apartment we go in for, because currently in a house they are paying over 2,000 because of their heating system. And I said, wow. So this brings to say that the hardship is not just in Africa, Ghana, it's everywhere. Recently, I went to visit the shop. Like, I went to get some few things. Surprisingly, or luckily for me, I had some coins with me. The actual money I took to the shop, believe me, wasn't enough. I got to the reception, or the casa, I don't know how to say it in English, or the sales point. After calculating, they mentioned a certain amount. I just couldn't I almost embarrassed myself. Luckily for me, I had enough money on myself, and I added it and I gave it to the lady. So I came home and I brought out the receipt and trying to calculate an item per item. I said, wow, that was where I opened my mouth. I'm like, huh? So my people, the crisis is everywhere. It's worldly, and we can only sympathize with ourselves and pray that the system gets better. And this brings it to me saying, I'm not saying this in support of any party or whatever. This is a disclaimer. I'm not supporting any party. I'm not saying this to give credit to any party. But what we should all bear in mind, what we should all bear in mind is that no government will come and turn what used to be 1 cedi to 50 pesos. Perhaps the government on power is not your government, it's not your party, or it's not your preferred choice, your preferred leader. And believe me, if your preferred choice were to be the one on power, what is happening now could happen. It's the same thing. So I keep saying this. Let's all pray for the head of the government, or for the government, or for any institution, because at the end of the day, if Allah touches their hearts, if Allah puts his fear in his hearts, if they have the fear of God, wallahi, every decision they take, they will think about the citizens. So this is all I have to say in this video. Thank you so much for having the time to watch. Till I come your way next time. Wassalamu alaikum.